Hello again, I am Jim Bob and welcome back to Lone Oak Farm. It's the first day of spring and you can see that our canola has started growing already. That's the canola we planted last night, or yesterday, throughout the day, and already, because we've transitioned to a new month, it has started to grow. That's great news. What is not quite so great news is we only have around 73,000 litres, just under 73,000 litres of digestate left at the BGA. Now I've got quite a large chunk of digestate in the back here as well, another 18,500 litres or so, just over. But that's it, that's all we have left. So we managed to get a really good chunk of this field done yesterday with our worker. He did crank out quite a lot. As you can see, a large section of this has all been done, but he has left quite a lot of gaps for us to kind of fill in. So we're going to have to manually do that ourselves. That's going to eat up, quite a bit of the slurry that we have in our tank. Have to try and juggle this as carefully as we can to make sure we're getting good coverage all across the board, without wasting what we've got left, because it is now becoming quite a precious commodity. We can always use whatever slurry we've rebuilt back up at the cows to get things finished as well if we need to. Just have a look. Have we got we've got a patch down here as well, look, all the way along the bottom as well. That's a lot. This is going to be tricky to do this without wasting a lot of digestate. So I think what we'll do, oh, it didn't actually do that bit at all there. There we go. I think what we'll do is we'll probably make a start on the next field before we come back and tidy up those small bits along the bottom there, those thin strips, because there's going to be sections where we're going to need to do some manual filling or some manual spreading on the next field as well, field 43. So we'll get that one done first, and then we'll come back and we'll do these little tiny leftover strips. So these bigger chunks, we can get those done now, but you can see how quickly it's going down out the back of my tank. I don't really want to have to waste slurry trying to get all of those tiny little bits tagged when I've got another field that still needs to be done. We'll get as much of that other field done as possible, and then we'll come back and we'll finish this off. And if we end up with just little patches around the edge that aren't done, so be it. Unfortunately, that's going to be the way it is. So let's get into position here. There we go. Start running up the field here with our worker. You can see the grass hasn't started growing yet, so we don't have any grass that we can cut for our sheep. No, not our sheep, sorry, for our cows. That seeded patch hasn't started growing yet. I'm a little disappointed by that. I kind of hoped it might have started today, but it hasn't. So we do need to get on that, as soon as we can. Get some grass cut and get those cows fed. Their health has been dropping a little bit, so you can see they're down to 83% health. Sheep are at 88. That's still balancing because of putting in sheep at a lower level of health. For some reason, because we didn't take one out, it put all of those in as separate loads. It put them all in at the sort of the bug to health. So we've ended up in a bit of a rough situation as a result of that, where some of our sheep are perfectly healthy, some of them not so much. If I'd realised or thought about it, I would have just dropped that one sheep in, taken one out immediately, and hopefully that would have sorted the problem out. I just figured it wouldn't be an issue, but because I figured I'd already added the sheep in before we started, but I added the sheep in before I turned on seasons, so they weren't added while seasons was active, which is why the bug was still in effect for the sheep. Obviously, we did that with the cows. We were very careful with the cows. But, it's a bit of a shame. Can't be helped, unfortunately. No point dwelling on it. We'll just have to make do as best we can. As I say, we need to try and get this field done in its entirety if we can. It's a big old field in some respects. It's I don't think we're going to have enough digestate to get this field finished. What about slurry? How much do we have at the moment? See, we only have 22,000 litres of slurry. It's not much at all. I don't think we're going to have enough to actually get this field done, even combining with the slurry. I think we may have to consider spraying some of this field to get it finished off. Not ideal, you know, but it is what it is. So I need to figure out what we're going to plant today. You can see we've got ground temperatures of 6 degrees. So if we take a look at the planting schedule, you can see we're inside the window for sugar beets now, so we can get the beets planted today. We can also plant our wheat and our barley as well. Got to wait another couple of days before we can do our sunflowers and our corn. And obviously temperatures need to go up for corn a bit more as well. But yeah, we can definitely get our beets planted today, as well as our wheat and barley. So that's pretty much going to be our plan for today, a full day of planting. And beyond that, I don't think there's a lot else that we do need to get done. We can maybe do a little bit of care work with our animals, make sure the food troughs are cleaned out, get the manure out of the cow pen and transfer that over to the orchard, and make sure that the water tanks are topped up as well, so that we are fully stocked and ready to go as soon as we get to sort of day 3, day 4, and get that orchard turned back on again. That's interesting. He carried on all the way across there. I was not expecting him to do that. Right, let's get this awkward bit here done. And it's going to leave us with another thin strip look. Didn't quite position where I needed to be. Oh, I did this. Never mind. So we're going to have a thin strip on the edge of this field that might need to be just ignored as well. Maybe I could weed it on the first stage. I might do that. I might weed just to do those bits around the edges that I missed. I'll have to obviously wait till the crop that's in there starts to grow a little bit. But that's something we could look at doing, just to kind of balance out our fertiliser levels a little bit without spending, a lot of money on spraying a very thin strip, which is not going to be an ideal way to go about things. Alright, I'm going to have to manually finish this bit off. Otherwise I'm going to end up putting digestate down on the grass, which is not something I want to do. I'm just looking at our fill level there going down. It goes down so quickly. There we go, right. So let's head over to the opposite end of the field and just do as much as we can until we run out, and hopefully, as I say, we'll have enough to tag the entire field. But somehow I don't think we will. I think we're going to have quite a big gap in the middle. Just checking in with our Optum over here, and you can see that we've actually covered a decent part of the field so far and still haven't touched what's left in the tank. So there must still be something at the BGA, although we've got to be running low now I'm amazed that we haven't already run out of stuff at the BGA and started taking from this tank here. Still a lot to go though, still half the field, more than half the field I think, in terms of what's left to do. About half the field maybe. Once this pass is done, we'll probably hit about 50% of the of coverage. So still a fair old way to go. We'll see how quickly this thing does start running out. Well, there we go. We've just ticked over onto the tank. We've actually done quite a bit more than I thought we would before that happened. So we've got to drain this completely now before we can switch over to slurry, because you can't have slurry and digestate in the same system. It just doesn't work. So we need to get rid of both of the tanks. We've got 3,000 litres in our little front Goma tank there, and then the remainder, the other 6,500 litres, is in the main unit behind us, the Joskin. So we need to drain both units before we can switch over to slurry from digestate. And once that's done, which will happen pretty quickly, possibly this pass, but more likely on the way back up again, it'll happen. Once that's done, we can then, as I say, switch over to slurry, and we'll buy some slurry. We'll actually use the buy thing rather than taking from the cows. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get to the end of this pass here, and I'm going to use what's left in this tank to try and do some of those fiddly little bits that we left. Just tag those as best I can. We'll then switch over to slurry. We'll finish this field off with slurry, and then we'll go back to the farm. We'll pick up the slurry from our cows, which is about 20,000 litres or so, and we'll use that to then finish off the touch-ups so that we've got full coverage where we need it. I think that's going to be the best way for us to actually make sure that all of our fields are completely covered, rather than having patches that are missing. And it's going to be easier than trying to do little weird bits with a weeder out of sequence with the rest of it, and also it's going to be cheaper than doing it with pesticide or fertilizer with a sprayer. So let's break off here. So we've got a few little patches around here that are going to need, very small patches that are going to be tagged. This one just here. And we've got one just here as well. Oops, dropped that a little bit too early, never mind. And just here. Go. So now we're onto the front tank remaining only. Should be enough to get this little section here done. Maybe going all the way up the side there as well, I don't know. Possibly, possibly not. It's going to be tight. It's 1,200 left. We should just about do this section here, and then this field will be done. Oh, it's close, look. 700 litres, 600, 500, 4, 3, 2. Oh, we're not going to make it. No. We just ran out. Okay, so we've completely drained this, so now we need to go and put slurry in this from the cows. So let's get this folded up, but before we, yeah, we'll do that first, and then we'll come back and we'll pay for that section. We'll just buy slurry for that section, so the money will go down a little bit faster because we'll be buying the slurry in directly. And then once that bit's done, we'll use the slurry that we have in the tank to finish off the edge on field 43 there, and then also the little patch over there that we couldn't quite get on 48 as well. That's going to be how we'll kind of tackle that issue. In hindsight, we really shouldn't have spread slurry on 30/35 until we'd got all the other fields done first. Then it wouldn't have been an issue, but hindsight's a wonderful thing. I think actually we've got a little patch just over here. No, it's just the way the texture loaded in. I thought for a second we might have missed a small patch on the edge of that field there. So let's actually fill up. We haven't filled up from the slurry tank here before. We've taken directly from it by mistake, but we haven't actually filled up from here before. See, we've got a little bit of slurry at the far end. Look, that's it. It's 20-something thousand litres. It's really nothing at all. So let's lower the gate. Swing our way around there without crashing into anything. We won't bother filling up the front tank. Just look and see if we can actually see the level in there going down. Yeah, I can just see it receding. It's kind of cool to actually see the visual of that slurry pit going down like that. So we go, we've got 15,000 on stock here. I'm just going to drop this tank here, so we're not going to need that. Let's raise that back up again. And then finally, all our slurry spreading will be finished off. You know, it's taken us a while to get everything done. We could probably have done with a bigger tank, but you know, by the time I figured out we could probably get a bigger tank and we had the money to actually pay for a bigger tank, we were already a good chunk of the way through our spreading anyway, so it just didn't seem worth the hassle of investing in a new one just to do a few fields and never be used again. So let's get unfolded. We'll start over here actually, so we don't have an issue with the tree on the way back up. Get lined up. There we go. And we need to change our help menu to just buy. There we go. So our money should go down quite quickly now. Yeah, there we go. You can see it ticking down quite fast as we're buying in the slurry. We'll pay to finish this section off, and then we'll use what's left in our tank, our 15,000 litres, to do that border edge just there, and then finish off the little bit on 48 that we couldn't get done. Meanwhile, you can see our beet planting is going very well indeed. We've almost finished field 53. What I did was I did a border all the way around, starting by the shed there, which has now just disappeared out of view, down and then along here and straight onto the next field, along the bottom edge, and then all the way along the top of both fields. And now we're getting this field done, and we're just going to transition straight over onto 54. Just missed the very edge there. There we go. So now we'll get 54 planted, and when that's done, we will start planting on field 30/35, and we'll get... What did we say we're going to put on there? We're going to put barley on there, weren't we? Yeah, so we'll get the barley planted on that field, and then from there we'll do 45 and 43 and get the 2 wheat fields done. And that's all the planting we can get done today. So you can see we're up to what, just gone quarter to 11. So by the time we get this field finished and then do 30/35 and 45 and 43, that probably will be about the end of the day. So that's a lot of planting that we're going to get done today. Once it is done, you know, those crops will be sorted, and we won't really have a lot of jobs to do tomorrow. So tomorrow I think we can, if we just top up the things that need immediate attention today, we can just spend tomorrow, dedicate that towards our animals, I think, and just give them a nice little bit of upkeep, so make sure they're well fed and nice and clean and tidy. We're starting to produce wool again, as it is now spring, and we're also in lambing season, as you can see. So we're reproducing lambs every 6 hours now because we've got our numbers up to 127. So I think we actually... Did we have 126 yesterday? I think we had 126. We might have already gained one already. Maybe even... Yeah, we will have gained at least one since midnight when they started breeding. So I'm just having a look to see. We're going to need to top their water levels up. We need to tidy up the cows. Maybe give them a little bit more silage and hay, just to balance those things out. Those bars normally go down at a uniform rate, but because they've had no grass over winter, A, their health has dropped, they're now down to 83%, and B, they've been eating through the hay a lot quicker, it seems, so, because they've not had any grass to keep them going. So we are going to need to balance that out a little bit. I might throw in a hay bale just to try and push that level back up a bit more where it should be, and get those bars kind of mixed up a bit more. I might just give them a couple of buckets of TMR and leave it at that, and then we need to top their water up because they're not going to have enough water to last the rest of today. Same with the sheep; they're going to need some more water as well. So you can see we're 21% into our next pallet, or our current pallet, which is pallet number 3. We have 2 full pallets already, so I'm hoping we're going to have quite a lot of wool to sell as the year goes on. Our best time to sell wool is actually in a few days. As you can see, the best day to sell wool is day 4 of spring, although day 5 isn't too bad either, or day 6 for that matter. So we'll produce wool all the way through to the end of summer, but if we can get a decent price towards the end of spring, then we'll probably look at selling some of our wool a little bit early, and then we'll just sell the rest off, you know, when we close the farm down at the end of the year. So I will scooch forward a bit more and keep an eye on what's going on with our slurry spreader, and I'll catch up with you when we're ready to finish off our spreading. Okay, so we've finished buying the slurry. We've just got this edge to do, and then actually we'll do that bit first over here, so we don't have to sort of double back down here again. There it is, there's that little patch. That's all that needs to be tagged on this field. We'll just apply that there. There we go. And now all we need to do is just do the thin edge on the side of field 44 there. No, 43. Once that's done, our slurry spreader can be packed away. And in fact, I might even sell it. So we're not going to need it again on this farm. We're not going to be sticking around after year 4, so it might be worth getting in touch with Mannings and arranging a buyer for this. Because someone else may still need this year, at this stage of the year. They may still have crops of their own that they need to deal with. So we probably overfilled this, and we're going to end up wasting a little bit of slurry. That's one thing I am looking forward to actually in 19, is that it has been confirmed that you will be able to empty out your fertilizers, or at least out of some equipment. I don't know if it's going to apply to all equipment, but the new big sprayer, which is just a monstrous thing and horrendously expensive, as we've seen on the fact sheets, but the new big sprayer that we've seen on the fact sheet is emptyable. So if you have leftover fertilizer, you can empty it into its own, into a storage bin somewhere, so you don't have to leave it full of fertilizer, which is great. I love that, and it's just a shame we haven't had that feature before. Being able to empty out this leftover slurry and put it back into the slurry pit would be fantastic if we could do that in 17, and hopefully we're going to have the opportunity to do that in 19 as well, given the mechanic is going to exist for a particular piece of equipment. I'm hoping for all fertilizers it's going to apply, but that needs to be confirmed. And there we go. Our spreading is finally finished, so we'll get this cleaned we'll pack it away in the shed for now, and we'll get in touch with Sam, see if he can find someone who's interested in purchasing this. As I say, it's still early enough in the season, it's only day 1 of spring, but somebody else on a nearby farm might well need this to put manure or slurry down on, or put slurry or digester down on their own fields. So fingers crossed we can actually find a buyer and get a decent price for it. And it saves it just sitting there, racking up maintenance costs and devaluing and depreciating in value as the year progresses. So the beets are done. It's time for us to start work on the next crop, and that's going to be barley, which we're going to plant on 35/30, this new big joined field just here. And once we've done that, you know, wheat's on 45 and 43. As I say, that's all the planting that we can get done today. As you can see, we've got to wait for sunflowers. We're not doing soybean. We've got to wait for corn. There's nothing else left. It's just those 2 crops. We need to wait for day 3 on those ones. So, yeah, it's going to be a very quiet day tomorrow. Indeed. We'll probably end up, as I say, just doing a little bit of animal care just for something to do. And then once that's done, oops, just tag the post there. Once that's done, it'll be sort of planting again on day 3, and we'll be able to start fertilizing on day 3 as well. And who knows, possibly we might even be able to do a little bit of mowing tomorrow for our cows. I'm hoping that because the way the grass grows so quickly on this farm, with this geo, I'm hoping that we might even be able to actually get some grass for the cows tomorrow and start getting their health to go back up again. That would be a real boost for us if we can get the health up this early on and not have to wait till like, you know, mid-spring. We can get it up tomorrow. That'll really be a big boost to us. And also the productivity of our cows as we move into the parts of the year where their milk volume is just going to drop as they start calving. Just get positioned and lined up. There we go, right. I'll see you in a little while. That's a nice little headway into this field that we've done so far. We've done more than half of it, and we've almost got this long section done as well. We've got one more pass to finish that off, and then we're into the kind of the bit more fiddly bit of this field, the bit where it's angled and goes around the side of the shed. Worker doesn't want to do that little bit. Okay, we'll do that bit for him. There we go, spin back around. And now we'll do a border around the bottom edge of this field just to make things a little bit easier for us as we head forward. It's such a shallow angle around here that the workers really don't like this section. We kind of have to do it manually. That's not a problem. I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty on this farm. As you've seen throughout the last couple of years, there have been bits that I've left to workers, there have been a lot of bits that I've done myself, and combinations of the two. We're actually taking a while to get this field done as well. You can see it's 2:30 now in the afternoon, and we've still got, I'd say, a little over a third of this field left to go until it's finished. And then we've got another 2 fields that we'd like to get planted. We might carry one of those across till tomorrow. We'll see what time it is by the time we finish up on this and make a start on the next field. We may carry one of them over. And I've been toying with the idea of maybe putting canola on 45 instead of wheat. I'm not quite sure about that yet. I think we'll probably stick to wheat. Just simply because I've already got my 2 canola fields already planted, and I don't really want to mess around staggering the canola. So I think we will just stick to wheat instead. But our crops are all going to come in at different times of the year now, which is going to be something that's different for us. They kind of did to a point last year. Our wheat, barley, canola all came in at exactly the same time. This year they're going to be staggered, and then our corn and our soybean came in at the same time last time around, and this year we're not doing soybean, and it's still 2 days till we can plant corn at the earliest. So our corn, our wheat, our barley and our canola are all going to be staggered from each other. Wheat and barley will come in at the same time, canola will come in before that, the beets will come in after that, and well, the beets will probably come in at the same time as the wheat and barley, but we can save those for when it's raining, and we can do those in the wet. And then our sunflowers will come in with our, probably around the same time as our corn, maybe a little bit earlier. Again, it depends on what the temperatures are like when it gets to day 3. If it's 10 degrees, then they'll start growing straight away. If it's a little bit cooler than that, then it should still be warm enough for the sunflowers, but too cold for the corn to start growing, and we may get a little bit of disparity in the growth between those two, which would stagger those, which again would be really helpful to us. So each time, each section, each transition of summer, late summer into early autumn and mid-autumn, will have a new crop come available every couple of days, which would be really cool when it comes to actually figuring out the order to harvest our fields, and we won't end up potentially having to pull some very, very long 18-hour days like we did last year to get everything harvested before we ran out of time. So yeah, it's all shaping up quite nicely so far. So we're practically done on this field now, just got these little tiny bits to tidy up. So we'll get this bit done here, spin around. There's a very thin line just there, and then a little bit towards the end that's going to need to be done. And then we have finished planting our barley, so it'll be time to turn our attentions to wheat. And we're going to do both 45 and 43 with wheat. We are going to stick with both of those fields as wheat fields, and hopefully we'll get both of them done, although we're going to tackle 45 because it's the awkward field. It's the one with the weird shape and the horseshoe around the trees, so it does get a little bit fiddlier. The other ones are very much a kind of a do your boundary, then it's point and squirt. Just sit back and your worker will get it done nice and easily for you. You do have to be a lot more hands-on with 45, so we'll do that one. We'll get that one out of the way, and then if we run out of time, we can always carry the other field over to tomorrow, because we'll still be in the same transition as we're in right now. So just going to drop that there for a second. You can see we're running low on fuel as well, so we're going to get this refueled, and then we'll refill the seeder, and then we'll tag our wheat fields 45 over there, and if we have time, 43 over there as well. And that's this first section of field done. So let's make our way back up the hill. Attack the second half of this field. It's closing in on 5 o'clock, so we've still got time to get the next field done before we sort of pack up for the night. There we go, just tag this edge along here like that. Just straighten her up. Run along the top section here. Get this strange kind of weird blocky kind of visual when you look at the field across there. I don't know why it does that. It's very weird. I'm just going to kind of clean these lines up now a bit. Just tag this little section that we missed. There we go. And then just to make things a little bit easier, because of the slope of this hill, you can see it is quite steep. Even our Magnum is struggling. Look, I've got my finger down full on the accelerator and we really are struggling. We're going to go across the top of a section along here like this. So we'll get this section done here, and then finish off the little blobby section down there. I don't know how to describe it really. That little area down there in the dip. We'll get that section done as the last part of this field, and then on to field 43. And another field bites the dust. It really doesn't take too long to get these done with a seeder this big. There we go. So, actually rattling through our field work today. All that remains now for us to seed is field 43, get our second wheat field in. We've used just over half the seed. We've got 44% left in our seed tank. That might be enough. It's going to be tight. We may possibly have to dash back for a little bit of extra top up. I don't know. We'll have to see how it all kind of shakes out. And there is our target field, just the other side of the grass. You just see the hill there. You don't really notice that hill on that part of the field until you see it from that angle. It's I mean, you know it's kind of an uphill bit, but you don't realise just how much it kind of falls away again just here on this side of it until you see it from a distance. Just going to need to square this up a bit more. There we go. So yeah, this is it. This is the last of the seeding that we can do for a couple of days. As I say, tomorrow we don't have any work that we can get done unless the grass grows. So we'll kind of just take care of the animals tomorrow, I think. Pretty much all we can do is just, you know, make sure our sheep are clean and well fed and well watered, and same with the cows. As I say, tomorrow we'll also muck out the cows and transport the manure down to the orchard. We'll make sure that the water tanks are full and fully topped up, and just kind of prep everything ready for day 3. There is very little that needs to be done tomorrow at all, because we've been able to, you know, really be quite productive during winter, which was not something I was expecting. I really didn't think we would be able to get as much done as we have. So we'll square off around here. And run up this side of the field. Have a slight overlap just so that we can square this off a little bit better. And we'll do the usual thing, we'll put a border along the top edge there as well because of the tree, so we're not going to have any collision issues. And then it'll just be running up and down until it's done. So yeah, once this is done I'm going to pack up for the night and get an early-ish kind of night, and then, you know, just as I say, tomorrow just tidy up around the farm a little bit and get everything kind of prepped ready for day 3. Just this single solitary strip is all that remains on this field. It's not even 8 o'clock, look, you know. We've done a lot of planting. It's gone really, really quickly. And, oh, I've just realised, despite sticking an extra 1,200 litres of seed in here, I'm wondering if I'm going to have enough. It's going to be really tight. 50 litres left. Is it going to be enough? Don't tell me I'm going to have to go back and get some more. I think I might have to. That's 30. Oh, it's close. That's 20. Oh, it should just be okay. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No! Oh, that's not fair. Got to go back and get more seed just for that little spot. Oh, that's ridiculous. Anyway, I'll head back to the farm. I'll grab some seed for that spot there, and then I will see you in the morning. Good morning. It is just gone 7:30, as you can see, on day 2, and we have potentially the threat of snow. That's just come from absolutely nowhere, but we do have, indeed have a threat of snow, and it's not far off as well. We're in that kind of window where sooner or later the clouds are going to start to roll in. Now, I don't expect it to actually snow. I have a feeling that it'll probably snow for all of about 10 minutes and then immediately start raining, but it just seemed a little bit odd to get that snow warning. It wasn't present in our forecast when we looked yesterday. It was just glorious sunshine, so yeah, a little surprised that suddenly appeared. But what are we caught on? A little bit too low to the ground. There we go. Let's just scoop up this grass. Now that we're out of winter, we are actually producing grass in the mess again, as opposed to hay. But you can see the lack of hay in our mix means that this is a very silagey kind of colour, as opposed to the usual kind of mix colour that we get. It's a lot browner than we would normally see. Some of that sort of grass element has been taken away, or the hay element has been taken away from the food mix. The grass itself hasn't grown, which was a little bit disappointing. I was hoping maybe we could get some grass today into the food troughs, but we can kind of get some food in the grass in the food troughs a little bit by tidying up the mess, as you can see. So we've got a real disparity between silage and hay and the power food itself. We're just going to max out this this power food into the trough as much as we can get in there, and hopefully that'll kind of make up the shortfall on the other bar, but we can always drop a hay bale in there if we need to, and we're probably going to need to mix up some more TMR for these guys as well. Beyond getting the cows kind of cleaned up and well fed, the other thing we're going to need to do is go and take a little bit of time sorting out the sheep. So again, giving them some food, some water, maybe moving a pallet of wool out of the way. I'm sure we would have gained an extra couple of sheep overnight as well, with them sort of lambing at the moment. Another 4 days after the day of lambing as well, so our numbers should go up quite nicely. If we're breeding every 6 hours, then we're looking at what, 48 extra sheep over spring, from midnight day 1 to midnight day 6, or the end of midnight day 7, day 1 of spring, summer. That's 4 sixes a day. 4 sixes, it's 24, isn't it? Yeah, it's 24 sheep. I don't know where I got 48 from, but 24 additional sheep is still a large number, and that, I think, will take us all the way up to 150. I think we had 126 at the end of winter. So that'll be a really nice number of sheep, although to breed wool through the summer, or create wool through the summer, having 150 of them, that'll spit out a few extra pallets. And we've got manure to take down to the orchard again, plus we also have, if I can get in here, I might have to bring the belt out for this. Yeah, I think I have to bring the belt out for that stuff in the corner. We also have water that we need to transport down there as well, so make sure our water tanks are full. There we go. So, like I said, it's just a day of kind of pottering around a little bit, really. There's not a lot else that we need to do. There you can see we definitely need to make some more TMR, so let's drop the bucket here for a second. Let's grab our hip-hop forks there that are bouncing around. There we go. And let's go grab some bales. Start mixing up some TMR in our mixing wagon. So now that the sun's out, even the grass bales in there, sorry, the hay bales, they look brighter and greener and lusher with the sunlight shining on them. It's amazing how different they look inside that little area. So much more vibrant with the sunlight coming through the windows. So we're going to need to make quite a bit, I think, of TMR. So I'm just going to drag out, I think, 4 stacks. That should be, well, that's going to be, maybe not 4 stacks. We'll grab at least 2 stacks. That'll be 6 loads of TMR, and we'll see how that shakes up. Let's get the second stack now. There we go. Now we need the mixing wagon. So I'm going to mix up a whole load of TMR, take it into the shed, and I'll catch up to you in a little while. So we are pretty much done with the cows. The only thing that still needs to be done is the manure, and we'll sort that out in a moment. But for now, we're going to head over to the sheep, make sure that they are fully stocked on food and water, and then we'll pop over to the orchard, grab the 1455 and the trailer, the Joskin KTP trans, and bring those back and start ferrying the manure back over to the orchard. And then finally we'll finish off with a quick run with our big water tanker all the way down to the orchard to make sure our water storage tanks are full, and also the little Aquatrans trailer that we have is full as well. So I will leave you with some parting shots of that action, because as I say, there's nothing really left to do today now apart from just mixing up a big batch of TMR. That is literally the only other thing that's left to do today. So it's going to be a very, very short, very, very quiet day today while we get ready for tomorrow. So I will see you all with another episode of Lone Oak Farm very soon.